Fellow Ugandans, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to welcome Your Excellencies, the heads of state and governments, and the heads of delegations of the non-aligned movement countries. This grouping of countries accounts for 4.46 billion people of the world. It was started by our far-sighted elders in the persons of His Excellency Sukarno of Indonesia, His Excellency Jawaharlal Nehru of India, His Excellency Gamal Abdel Nasser of Egypt, and His Excellency Zhou Enlai of China, when they met in Bandung, Indonesia, in 1955. That time I was in primary 3 in the school. The first summit of the non-aligned movement took place in Belgrade, Yugoslavia, in 1961, and was attended by Afghanistan, Algeria, Burma, Cambodia, Ceylon, Congo, Cuba, Cyprus, Ethiopia, Ghana, Guinea Conakry, I think here we're talking of Guinea Conakry, India, Indonesia, Iraq, Lebanon, Mali, Morocco, Nepal, Saudi Arabia, Somalia, Sudan, Tunisia, United Arab Republic, Egypt, Yemen, and Yugoslavia. The emergence of the non-aligned movement was a necessary antidote to the irrational polarization of the world of that time between the capitalist Western countries and the communist, mainly Eastern countries. By the early 1960s, our student group was already beginning to be active. We were the third generation of the African anti-colonial freedom fighters. The first generation had been the African-American Pan-Africanists, such as Marcus Garvey, George Padamore, W.B. Dubois, that had been joined by those who founded the African National Congress of South Africa in 1912. By 1900, the whole of Africa, except for Ethiopia, had been colonized. This direct colonization of the whole of the African continent was the culmination of 400 years of the plunder of Africa by the evil imperialist forces in the form of slave trade and the genocidal wars that went with it. The newly discovered Americas, Asia, China, and the Pacific, Australia, New Zealand, and so on, had been similarly aggressed, colonized, semi-colonized, like in the case of China, and plundered. Africa's capitulation, Africa's surrender, had been in part on account of our egocentric chiefs and kings, who out of selfishness could not unite us to fight these evil people. Our stand is that the world should concentrate on the common human problems, prosperity through trade, and that's why I'm very happy to see you here. When you are outside there, you may get stereotypes about Africa, that Africa, they have no food, they are starving. Here we are dying from food. We have so much food here. So those images which you see about some bad situations, don't think they represent the whole of Africa. Africa has got everything. Here we have everything. What we need from other people are markets and investments. But we shall not only sell to you, we shall also buy from you. We are not like others who want only to sell to others but not buy from them. So I'm very glad to have this big presence of people from the world so that we can interact with you. Our stand is that the world should concentrate on the common human problems, prosperity through trade, the advance of science and technology to deal with human problems, the environment, crime, and terrorism. The future is bright if we act right. These are indeed the Bandung principles of 1, respect for fundamental human rights and for the purposes of the principles of the Charter of the United Nations, respect for the sovereignty and territorial integrity of all nations, recognition of the equality of all races and of equality of all nations, large and small, abstention from intervention or interference in the internal affairs of another country, respect for the right of each nation to defend itself singly or collectively in conformity with the Charter of the United Nations, abstention from the use of arrangements of collective defense to serve the particular interests of any of the big powers, abstention by any country from exerting pressure on other countries. 7, refraining from acts of threats, of aggression, or use of force against the territorial integrity or political independence of any country. Settlement of all international disputes by peaceful means, such as negotiation, conciliation, arbitration, or judicial settlement, as well as other peaceful means of the parties' own choice in conformity with the Charter of the United Nations. Promotion of mutual interests and cooperation, and respect for justice and international obligation. It is on these principles that the NAM was founded. We, the resistance fighters of Uganda, can testify that by synthesizing the package of ideas have got very good results. The universe has been here for the last 30 billion years. This earth has been here for 30 billion years. The human society has been here for the last 4.5 million years. Now you come, within 20 years, you think what you think is the only correct thing. You must be sick. You therefore should not have the audacity to impose on the society you live in, let alone the world, your narrow, uni-ideological orientation. Here in Uganda, we rejected the concept of uni-ideological positions. Our movement started as a multi-ideological political force. We had capitalists, we had socialists, we had Marxists, we had feudalists. They're all. That's why we call our movement, not party. Because a party is uni-ideological. Communist party, capitalist party, those are uni-ideological. Our force is multi-ideological, because that's what fits our society. In conclusion, the strength of the non-aligned movement should be used to exercise considerable influence, particularly at the UN, for the effective transformative process for a better common future. In the negotiations for the Pact of the Future, the outcome document of the upcoming United Nations Summit of the Future, to be held in New York in September 2024, we should clearly define priorities that favor developing countries by maintaining unity, solidarity, and collective coordination among our member states in line with the Bandung principles. I assure you all that my team, led by the permanent representative in New York, has my full support to chair the coordinating bureau of the non-aligned movement. I thank you, and I welcome you all to Uganda. Thank you very much.